So my film Barbecue is about the coping process from sexual trauma. And this was something I was dealing with at the same time as well, privately. And the idea of the film was kind of born from having super awkward therapy sessions where we would just sit in full silence for an hour because I didn't know how to talk about it. So I was thinking that this film is my chance just to express myself and sort out my thoughts visually, since I can't do it vocally. I was also going in group therapy and I found that was more helpful to me almost, because it was really good to hear other people who had gone through similar stuff and realized that they've reacted in similar ways, because I kind of normalized it, because a lot of the, at least for me, the biggest issues you deal with is this feelings of shame and guilt. And it's really healing to realize that it's normal emotions, that normal reactions to an unnormal situation. So because of this, I didn't really see the value on making a film that's specifically about me, but I wanted it to be more about the general healing curve and how you not get over it, but how you learn to live with the trauma and get better. So by chance, it came out right before, like at the same time as the Me Too movement was happening. So it was a funny curve because I made the film for myself and then I didn't expect it to do well at festivals or get in, because everyone was saying like it's a very weird film. And then suddenly it was very relevant, and I went from not being able to talk about it at all to going to festivals and talk about this really private issue in a microphone in front of an audience. So it was like a healing journey for myself as well, just making the film. So a lot of my films are about visualizing abstract emotions and thoughts. And because I did start doing drawn animation from the urge to not knowing how to talk or write about it. So I felt like I can't write a script. I have to do it through images. So my process is just doing a lot of tests. I do a lot of style frames, a lot of little test animations. And then when I feel like they convey the message that I want to, because I always know beforehand what the film is about and what it is I want to say. So then when I feel like they make sense, I start putting them on a timeline and work out the story from there. The initial idea with my film Sweet Like Lemons was this idea of writing a letter that you're never gonna send. And I was thinking a lot about this need to get closure after a relationship has ended badly. And at least I struggle with, like, I really wanted to hear this person acknowledge how they harmed me or like apologize. But the more time went on and the more I thought about it, I also realized that I'm essentially just giving them all the power again over my mental well-being. Because if I can't move on without them saying this, they're still in charge. And it's coming to that realization that actually you can close the chapter when you want it and move on. Sweet Like Lemons, it was like more of an intentionally symbolic films where I put a lot of thoughts into it. So everything from what colors are the characters wearing, like the woman is wearing purple because it's about her regaining her power. He's wearing blue because he has very patriotic views of the world. And also like in character design, because we're inside the woman's head, she thinks of herself looking back that she acted quite naively. So she's drawn in a naive way because that's how she remembers herself. And then but there are the more surreal bits. They are just like I was thinking of, like what comes to mind when I think of happiness or freedom, and this is what came out. So it was very intuitive. There isn't really a clear guideline for that, but I'm just trying to trust my intuition and trust that it's gonna make sense, and then cross my fingers and hope for the best. Yeah, so like a big symbol in the film, literally. is the man has this big nose, and the nose is guiding his movement throughout the film. And it's a bit of a childish symbol, but it's like obviously a penis symbol. And I was thinking, okay, he's a dickhead, so he needs to have it on his head. It makes sense. In barbecue, the fish element came from, I was watching a lot of Drag Race at the time. And they used the term fishy, and I was looking into the origins of that word, and it was a bit of a derogatory term towards women that like their vaginas smell of fish. And then I was like, oh, like that actually works for my film, because it's about her feeling the self-disgust and also feeling removed from her own body. So I don't show any genitalia in that movie because it's about her being lost from her sexuality. But I do have a moment where there's a fish there instead of a vagina. And it's to symbolize her feeling of self-disgust. So in my films, sound is extremely important because I don't usually follow the traditional narrative. I work a lot with the same people, with Adam Woodhams, who does the sound design, and Sarah Playford, who does the music. Especially the music is very, very, very vital for the film. So the way we go about it, I usually write them as if they're my therapists about like, this scene has this feeling or this emotion and it means this. And then they're like, yes, Jenny, we can do that. And then they go off and then they come back. And I think it's just really important to find people that you really match with, and they get my vision, and they not only do what I'm hoping them to do, but they also add this extra layer that makes the animation look better in turn. So I'm very lucky to have very early on found good collaborators on sound. So Live a Little, I made it right after finishing Barbecue. I felt this urge to just do something silly and a bit stupid because I had just made this very serious film. I was working at the same time, I had just started to work full-time as self-employed, but I lived in London, which is very expensive, and I was barely being able to make it. So I realized this is a self-produced film. I have 3 months on me to do this film. And with Barbecue and all my other films, the bit that takes me the longest is figuring out the structure. So in order to speed it along, I asked my friend Celia Hillo to write me a poem on the subject of being in your early 20s and feeling lost and confused. So she wrote me this text that I then used as a voiceover. And I quite enjoyed it too because the text keeps the story clear, and it allowed me to visually go a bit mad and show things that the text isn't talking about. But it feels like when I look back at my work, Live a Little feels almost like a little extra film that I just made for myself to be happy. Yeah.